up, guys? Just going to do an introductory video here. It's going to be a new segment we're going to be doing for SquishTronics. We are going to be building a new system for the Squish, and she's going to help me put everything together. And this is the case we're going to be using. It's pretty cheap. I got it at the flea market, very heavily discounted. Missing some fans and some tiny fan holes in the back and the front. So we're going to be doing a lot of things. So one of the main goals here is we are going to strip the chassis down to all its metal components, paint all of the inside white, we're going to paint the outside black. We're going to do something with this, probably going to put a new fan mount here with a grill over it. Haven't decided if I'm going to make the grill yet or buy one pre-made. We'll get there when we get there. On the front side, I am a little worried about getting these little plastic nubbies painted correctly, because I believe they are plastic made into these things yet. I haven't actually gotten in there to find out yet. Also, there's a 92mm fan behind here. We are going to gut that and put in a 120 mount instead. Just get a little better airflow, lower fan speeds, lower volume, all that good stuff. So today we're just going to be doing tearing out of the case basically and seeing what we're looking at. Let's get you guys a better camera angle. I'm not a fan of these USB cables they're using. They're actually not even joined together. So we're going to have to actually figure out what the pinouts of the USB on the board is and do that manually. I'm not looking forward to that. Also, this case uses these cheap little plastic standoffs in here. So we're going to be taking those out and drilling and tapping some holes for some proper standoffs to actually screw into it. I don't actually own a tap set yet. We'll be picking that up along the way. On the back, you can see the slots are a little banged up. We're going to fix that. This 90mm section, I don't know if we can get it that any bigger to get a 120 in there. We will try, and if we can, we will, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I don't know if it'll fit. On the back side here, just a pretty standard frame. No CPU cut or anything. I was debating on actually cutting this out so we can have a CPU cut out and give it kind of that feel of a more modern case, but haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet or not. It looks like this whole motherboard tray will actually come out. Let's take a look at that. So if I can take this out and drill it, that would be very preferable to doing it while it's inside the case. So let's take a look. Okay, so it looks like this whole tray just kind of slides forward and then out. Oh, that's cool. We'll set that aside for now too. Let's see if we can get this front panel off. Let's take these guys out. Okay, so it looks like these may actually be plastic inserts, so we may actually be able to pop these out before we paint. You can see on the back side, it does go all the way through, so we may be able to pop those out and salvage those when we redo this. If we can't get them back in, we could always just get some dome-headed screws and just kind of leave them in there like chrome nuts. Not nuts, chrome screws. Well, hey, that one came out. So it looks like it's just a little rivet thing that goes through a hole. So doesn't like to go back in very well, but we can always just, throw a little hot glue on it and call it a day. But it's good to know that they do actually come out. Oh wow. Okay, that's different. So we have like a whole insert piece here that comes out. So we actually don't have a fan in the front of this thing at all. Okay. So that's a cool little acrylic shield thing, which we'll try and clean up a little more. And the actual power button, looks like that whole assembly just pops in there. This whole assembly just screws on, that's fine. The LED and power button or the reset button are hot glued in. we may just unglue the reset button, pull it out, and then glue it back in when we're done. That's probably the best idea there. We'll worry about the actual disassembly of the individual pieces when we get there. Okay, so that's our front panel off, nice and dangly. So what I was saying, I don't think you can actually see it on the camera because the angle is a big power button here. This whole thing comes off. USB ports and headphone jacks at the bottom, those just come right off. And then these are hot glued in, but I think we can just unglue them, heat them up, pop the glue off, and just pull them out because we will have to get those out because they're shiny. And we want to keep them shiny. Okay, so it looks like the top is just screwed on, which is pretty cool. That is going to make our lives a little easier painting this thing. Let's see if we can pop this front panel off. Prying tool. Okay. Alright, so that came off with a little prying. That's totally fine. And then we have a couple more screws in the front. That's why it was still stuck on there. So this case is a pretty cheap case. It's from no brand that I've ever heard of. And the fans are pretty terrible, but it seems to come apart pretty easily, and that's kind of nice. It's a nice change. This upper plastic piece looks like it's just clipped in, so that'll just pop right out or off. Awesome, broke that piece. Be a little more gentle with it. Okay. So the metal pieces separated from the plastic pieces, and those are all good to go. And this is that top piece I was telling you about. It's called Sky Fan. It has a little thing that pops up and flips out a little fan to help exhaust. But it's a little crappy fan. So I think that's the gist of the inside here. So to get the drive trays out, there's a few things. It is screwed together here. So the two cages are screwed together. And then the cages themselves are riveted here, here, all down the front, bottom side, this top bracket. Those are all riveted together, so we'll have to actually drill out those rivets and then replace them. I would pick up a rivet gun, probably my next trip to Lowe's or Home Depot or whichever hardware store I get to first. I live closer to Lowe's, so it'll probably be Lowe's. But yeah, so one of the things I want to look at is, can we get a 120 mil fan here? So I'm gonna run and grab one and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I went and grabbed 120 Cooler Master fan I had sitting around. And it looks like we might be able to get one in. That's gonna be a real tight fit. So basically I think the idea here is we're going to actually mount the fan on this side. May have to go this way. Maybe that's why it doesn't have a 120 mil fan in it, because it won't go in. And I almost guarantee you there's not going to be room there because of the way the power button's made. I love how this looks like there's vents made into it, but those are totally just little plastic. I don't know the word for that is. Ridges. Ridges is the word. There we go. It will go in. The other thing we're going to worry about is the ventilation there. I don't think that these little crappy fans here are going to cut it. So once we get the fan in place, I'm probably just going to take the potato coping saw and we'll hack out a square, or We're going to try and make it a circle, but it's probably going to be a square. We're going to hack a shape out of it. And I can't get the fan back out now, but that's fine. And I'm pretty sure this fan is the one that goes in the side. So we're going to pop that off and actually stick it back on that side panel. So our paint scheme, for those of you who are wondering, we're going to do all of these bare metal pieces. We're going to make those white. Make it kind of a nice a flat white, like look like it's powder coated, but we're not paying for powder coating. So it'll be like sprayed on, probably enamel, maybe Plasta Dip, depending on what I go with when I get to the store. Haven't planned that far ahead yet. And then all of these other black pieces, all the outside pieces, all the trim, we're going to do in probably pink. I'm actually going to let her pick out the color when we go to the store and let her do that. I just saw that my camera has Spock's faces on it, and my camera's picking up their faces with the facial detection. That's hilarious. Where was that? Right, so I'm presuming that she's going to want pink because she loves pink, but you never can tell with that one. So we'll go to the store and pick some paint out. I might do like a vlog of that, of us going to the store and have her pick the paint out on camera. I think that could be fun. I just want to do a quick teardown and introduction of what exactly we're doing for this case mods. One of the other things I want to do is I want to try and see if we can get figure that a 120 back here. So let me bring you guys back down a little bit. It's hard to see up there. Zoom. So what I want to see is if we can fit in that little square there a 120 mil. And maybe is the best I can say. So I guess it depends on how much room we have over the motherboard with that. Can't quite see it. So I'm in the I/O shield here, like really close to the I/O shield. So depends on how much height we have. If we have enough height there, where the I/O shield sits. You see the finger, there we go. So if we have enough height here, once we get the motherboard in, we may be able to get a 120 in the back here. It'll be the same idea. We're just going to drill through where the holes go and slap it in. With the back, there's enough holes back here that I think will be okay ventilation wise, although I may re-angle them so they stick out a little further because they are kind of crappy. Oh, and this whole case is just so dusty. I'm just going to take basically an alcohol bath before we do the painting on it. But I think that's it for now. I may poke and prod on this thing a little more before I actually go to bed tonight, but nothing that really needs to be logged on video. Yeah, I'm probably going to put this thing back together, at least somewhat, because I want her to help me with the disassembly, just to get her involved a little more. I really just want to do an introductory video to show you guys what our game plan is, and then where we're going to be going with it. So hit that like button, get subscribed. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff with the Squish coming up with this whole project, because this is going to be probably several videos of us actually getting it prepped for painting, going to the store to get the paint. She's not going to help me with the painting. That's not wise. So it'll probably be a video of me painting, maybe just a time lapse of that. And then we have the actual reassembly of the painted pieces, which she'll be involved in. And then the actual computer assembly, power on, all that good stuff. And I've got to paint up a few more parts as well. We're actually going to be using my system build back here, which I don't know if you guys can see or not. Back behind the monitor, I just have Lady Baka's old system back there. We're going to use those insides and stick in here and call it a day. I'm actually going to be going through and setting up a custom permissions on Linux, probably Ubuntu, just because it's what I'm most familiar with. And go through and set up an account for her so that she can only go to like 5 websites that are okay for her to go to, so that she can just use this thing and it be hers. So that'll be a learning process for me. I haven't done that kind of restrictive access before. If you guys have any tips for it, let me know. If you have any good resources, link it down in the description. It will auto block your comment if you put a link, but I do still see those, and I'll unblock it if it's an appropriate link. So leave me a link down below to how to do that. I'll be looking it up myself. But otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next one.